Welcome back here to the Patrick Regan Show on the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network. Playing some of the best bumper music on the radio today. For you listeners who remember the 90s, this is the band live and their hit song, actually, Lakini's Juice. Interesting bit of trivia on this song. It wasn't released as a single in the United States, but still reached number one here. Well, don't ask me why they didn't release it here, but I guess they had their reasons. Still reached number one, so I guess they got paid either way. Anyway, getting on with the program. You're listening to us here locally on News Talk 98.7 WOKI. Wanted to be sure and get that in before we get going. Continuing this line of thought from the first segment, that being this devotion, this unthinking marching to the beat of government. I've ran across a good column last week talking about this very type of thinking. And I've got it right here. Okay, it's by Chris Rossini, and it's over at the website economicpolicyjournal.com. economicpolicyjournal.com. And it's a blog, I believe a bunch of different people write for. It came out last week, but the message on it is timeless. It's entitled, Americans Suffer from Baby Elephant Syndrome. Now, the column starts off with a picture of this huge, big elephant chained with this kind of a small chain to this little wooden stake driven into the ground. And the column states, take a look at this picture. Just by eyeballing it, do you think the elephant can break that chain if he wanted to? Well, of course, he can snap it any time. Well, then why doesn't he? Because he's been trained, starting from a baby, that he can't break the chain. As the elephant grows up, it tries and tries, but the chain is too strong. The elephant gives up and never tries again, even when it is fully grown and massive and could snap the chain in the blink of an eye. Mentally, the elephant has been beat. Now let me introduce you to American human beings. These humans descend from ancestors that valued and cherished the mentality of liberty. But then the power-hungry, quote, mental trainers came along. One of these many trainers goes by the name of Michael Gerson. Incidentally, if that name sounds familiar, it's because I talked about him just last week. He's the former speechwriter for George W. Bush, and we were reading his quote on Obamacare that basically said the Republicans should create their own, quote, Obamacare to present as an alternative, not to try and defeat the unconstitutional one that we have now. He didn't actually describe it as unconstitutional. That's my word. He probably doesn't see anything wrong with defying the Constitution, much like just about everyone else in government. Constitution? Who cares? Sounds a lot like his boss, but he didn't care for the Constitution either. Anyway, getting back to the column, like his colleagues, Gerson recognizes the contempt that Americans currently have for the government. He sets out to reaffirm to the trained humans that they cannot break the chain. Gerson writes in the Washington Post, quote, Americans do not want public officials who share their contempt for government. They want public officials who no longer justify it. The alternative to the grandiosity and incompetence is not to do nothing. It is to achieve policy goals in ways that are practical, incremental, and effective. Americans have not ceased looking for responses to routine educational failure or persistent economic stagnation, or to the problems of an expensive, inequitable healthcare system. These are public challenges in which government plays an inescapable role. A successful political party will provide a superior conception of that role. So, Mr. Gerson has no problem with government meddling around and trampling on individual rights. None at all. In fact, he states right here that the government plays an inescapable role in these policies that must be dealt with by government, because you're too stupid and incompetent to do it yourself. Now, Mr. Rossini continued in his column, quote, you see, American humans also start their training at a very young age. Government wants to make it even younger with its idea of universal pre-K. By the time the Americans are 18 years old, the idea that government plays an inescapable role in education, the economy, health care, and every other facet of life is cemented in. When adulthood is reached, American minds are ready to, quote, graduate to CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and the Michael Gersons of the world. Just in case Americans get curious about liberty, these trainers on television are there to provide a daily refresher course. As with elephants, this is all mental. The power rests solely on the ideas that are held by each individual. This is why I remind you at the end of every show I do, liberty begins with you in your mind. You are free if you will only take control of your life. Run for office. Get others to as well. Vote them in and start reining in this government. It works for you, not the other way around. Now, he also finishes his column with this. Government does not have to play an inescapable role. Such an idea is equivalent to the tiny chain holding back the massive elephant. A much sounder, sustainable, and viable idea is for government to play no role whatsoever in education nor in the economy. The elephant merely has to jolt its leg to snap that puny chain, and he could gallop off to freedom. Americans just need to adopt different ideas. Then speak, write, tweet, YouTube, and share them with others, much like we do on this radio show. Americans can tell the mental trainers to take a hike and then set the country back on the path of peace, commerce, and no foreign entanglements. He's echoing exactly what you hear on this show each and every week. The ability to gain your freedom is within your reach. All you have to do is grab it. The government is depending on the constant reinforcement of the idea that you can't, so you might as well comply. Don't let them win that argument in your head. Don't sentence your children and grandchildren to more and more tyranny from an out-of-control and largely unaccountable government. This week, start making the changes in your life to steer our country back onto the course we lost over a century ago. Now you may say, well, Patrick, what can I do about all this? It's simple, and as I just mentioned, if you're a regular listener to this show, you know what's coming. At this next election, you know someone who should run, and it might even be you. Don't worry about what others say. Walk around your district. Talk to people. Enlist them to help spread the word about what you want to do. If you don't make it this time, run again. And keep running until you win. Even if you never win, at least you'll be trying to make a difference. You're not going down without a fight. That's why I'm on the air. I'm trying to reach out to as many people as I can. I'm trying to get you to get active in managing your government. If you don't get involved, then people who want to run your life and ruin your life will. In fact, they already are. They want to tell you what to do, and they have the force of law to make you. You better start working this week to get good people to run for office and then work to get them elected. But it doesn't end there. As you know, you have to keep an eye on what they're up to, or they might end up being seduced by the money and power and government, just like we're dealing with now. You have to keep them honest, or you have to throw them out. I mean, you wouldn't put up with this kind of stuff from employees in any other business you owned. Yet you allow it to go on with your employees in Washington. This constant lying, this condescension, the outright disrespect for you as their boss, their employer. You hire these people. You pay them. They answer to you. Make them do it. Hold them to account. Stop blindly voting for people just because they're Democrat or Republican or whatever. They're all people. They're all human. If you don't keep an eye on them, the odds are they're going to succumb to doing what Washington wants instead of what you want. Just look at the numbers. How many go to Washington and renege on their campaign promises? All right, we're already at the halfway point of the show today, the half-hour break. Wow. When we return in the next half hour, we'll talk some more about government and how it's abusing us, and maybe give you some more ideas about what we can do to get this turned around. When we return here on the Patrick Riggins Show on the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network.